Some people criticize the East Side based on his background. It shouldn't be. No one should be judged, but we are because we're human. Yes, you may say that only God can judge us, but that's not important right now. Right now is the time to show you what these project kids are made of at Sanders Clyde. We are full of creativity. We are full of knowledge and well educated.
My name is Emil, and one day I was drawing about the class of I like the cameras.
My name is Diamond. My favorite thing to do is photograph people and a lot of other things.
My name is Naisha. My favorite thing about myself is I am pretty.
My name is Corey Jr. I like playing football, basketball, and different types of sports.
My name is Michaela. My favorite thing about this class is being on camera and recording other people.
My name is Susan Williams, but I write under the name Susan Miller Williams. I teach English at Trident Technical College at the Palmer campus, which is almost inside of here. Well, I've been down here working for a really long time before it dawned on me that I did want to research it. Though I do have two very good friends who also live in McClellanville, who 26 years ago, were working on the one book about the East Side. It was called Between the Tracks, Charleston's East Side in the 19th century. So knowing about their work made me interested. But it was not until I started working on a book about the Great Charleston Earthquake of 1886 that I started running across references to all the things that had happened in this neighborhood. And I started looking around me and really seeing what was there instead of driving into the parking lot and going into the campus building and not having any idea what had happened here before and why I should care. I started also meeting people who live there now and understanding that they had families and jobs and lives and life stories that I wanted to know as well. So there are a lot of layers in the neighborhood's history. And to me, it's always about people's life stories and how it felt to live through various periods of history. When the cigar factory was built, it was a textile mill. And it never quite worked. It was always kind of failing and going broke. And one of the problems they thought they had was that the workers weren't loyal. They wouldn't stick with their jobs. But I don't think that was all of it by any means. They did build some little factory housing there and try to fix that. But when the factory went broke the second time, they had all white labor. And white labor it was believed at the time, don't ask me why, that black people weren't fitted for textile work. And I think it was more like those were really good jobs and they wanted to reserve them for white people. But a group from the upstate came in and put black workers in the cotton factory. They apparently did a very good job. And yet it caused all this outrage. People all over the country were going, what are you doing putting black workers in the textile factory? Booker T. Washington did come and visit the factory and say, looks to me like they're doing a great job. He was not there for very long, but it is a part of his autobiography. And you know, when I started, and probably even now, my motive was selfish. I just wanted to know. I thought all this stuff was treasure, like a detective story. As I did it for myself, I began to realize that other people cared too and liked knowing all of this stuff. And I do think that it's a collective process. No one person can know all of these stories or collect all of this information. And it's been so inspiring to me, all of the people who have gotten involved in trying to figure out all the parts of this story. And I do think that you can't preserve a neighborhood or know what's important about a neighborhood until you understand what people's lives were like at all those different periods of time.
Ellen Sanders and Bertie Clyde lived in the early 20th century in Charleston. Both were graduates of the Avery Normal Institute, and they centered their lives around education and bettering the everyday lives of everyone around them through the hard work and discipline.
was born in Charleston, South Carolina, on Wall Street, a street that no longer exists downtown. My childhood was wonderful on the East Side. I had the best experience. I thought it was the best place to be because you know what? Everyone was allowed to be a child. Everyone knew everyone's children, everyone knew each other and helped each other. No one tried to hurt each other. We could go to any doors we want to and ask for anything. And if it was there, we got it. So we were a big family. I lived on the projects down at the foot of Calhoun Street called Ansonborough. I was a little girl in the 50s, but as I grew up and started understanding some of what was going on, I realized that everything wasn't equal for everyone in Charleston. And when I say that, it wasn't equal for blacks and whites in Charleston. When I graduated from high school, that was the first year that they wanted to try to integrate the high schools. And they wanted me to attend one of the white high schools, which was Charleston High. But I didn't want to attend a white school. I wanted to attend a black school, which was Charles A. Brown High School, and that's where I went. Well, C.A. Brown was actually opened in 1962, and it was there for about 20 years because they closed it in 1982. None of my family members were a part of the Jackson Street Panthers, but I knew them real well. I knew the leader, Mr. Bernard Clay, and Leonard Clay, and I sort of got introduced to them not knowing. The first week I was at C.A. Brown, I had one of the Tams on my head. My mom had bought it. It was like 75 cents. And I was sitting down with my girlfriends having lunch, and this guy came over and he snatched my hat off my head. And I'm like, wait a minute, my mom paid for that. So I go and snatch it off of his head, right? And then he came back and I put it on my head and I started talking again. And he came back and he snatched it off my head again. I'm getting mad now. So I went back and I snatched my hat back. And then someone said, you might want to leave it there because he's the leader of the Jackson Street Panthers. I'm like, because, you know, they did bad things there sometimes. But after that, he says, you know what, I will protect you anywhere you go. You just let me know. If anybody bothers you, I've got them for you. So he wasn't my blood family, but he took care of me. My advice to you and all of the scholars at Sanders Clyde would be to make sure you equip yourselves with the best education you can get so that you can be the best people and the most productive people and proud people from the east side of Charleston. So it doesn't matter where you came from, it matters where you want to go. And education is going to be the key and the ticket to get you there.
East side, 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 east side. Now this is a story all about how our east side lives got flipped around. Let's take 3 minutes and explain to you right now. From the bottom at segregation now to the top where everyone is fair and we don't despair. East side life ain't all that bad after you done got your head in the game.
Head in the game.
Head in the game.
She live on east side, born and raised from a street no longer exists.
Wall Street.
2014 now is the market, but the history will still remain.
My mother made her money and like always, she thought about her kids and bought me a hat.
Bought me
a hat. 75 cents is not that bad, but it is valuable back in those days.
Back in those days.
Back in those days.
My name is Thomas. My favorite thing about this class is to learn about using your camera professionally. My name is Christian. My favorite thing about this class is learning how to edit photos and how to work a camera.
My name is Nyla. I like the fact that I can learn how to film and take pictures, and I love the teachers.
Oh, my name is Kiara. My favorite thing about YoArt is the excitement and the hands-on technology that we do every single day and taking pictures.
My name is Chloe. My favorite thing about myself is that I'm different.
In 1960, the school was officially renamed Sanders Clyde Elementary School in honor of Miss Sanders and Miss Clyde, who changed the face of teaching excellence and community leadership in Charleston.
My name is Delanza Simmons. I raised up on Johnson Street. My childhood was very rough on the east side because, I mean, you had a lot of violence. I mean, sometimes you go to bed at night, you hear gunshots, gang fights. I mean, sky's the limit. I mean, you can look in any other neighborhood around the world, and on Johnson Street, I think we've experienced a whole lot of things that other neighborhoods around the world have experienced. I attend Trident Tech as we speak, but I felt a real good emotion for my mother to see me enroll into a college. My job right now, today I was selected as the unit director at the Shaw Center, but I started off doing community service. And I went from community service to a janitor, from a janitor to a program assistant, and from a program assistant to an athletic director. So that goes to show you hard work pays off. I was put on this earth to cater to kids because kids are my passion. How I got here, I think prayer, belief, and a strong team. And I went to the old Boys and Girls Club, it's now called the Shaw Center. And they let me do my community service there. What I used to do while I was on community service, I used to clean the building from top to bottom. And then after that, they were looking for volunteer coaches. So I ended up coaching football, basketball, and baseball. So I did the janitor job for about 2 years, got my record expunged, became a program assistant. So I used to do different programming like life skills, teach kids about decision making, and there's a consequence behind every action. So it's a whole lot of things that I was teaching kids to avoid them going through the same things that I went through as a kid. And from a program assistant, we started a real powerful sports program, so they hired me as an athletic director. And from the athletic director, I'm the unit director now, so the only advice I can give the kids is hard work pays off, listen to your teachers, do your schoolwork, respect your elders, respect yourself and respect everything around you, and that'll get you far. But put the Creator first, and that's the Most High. As a teen, all you have to do is listen, pay attention, and be very observant, because you can do whatever you want to do if you put your mind to it, but nobody's going to give you anything, so you're going to have to work hard for everything you do in life. So that's the only advice I can give.
My name is James, and my favorite thing about this class is learning how to make movies.
My name is Nicholas Jr. I like to come and work with some things and also like use the cameras and how to use extra technology.
My name is DeAndre, and my favorite thing about this class is to take pictures and to learn about other things about cameras that I didn't know before.
My name is Nice Vision, and the best thing about YoArt is how to learn how to use cameras and what cameras were used for and how they were made.
2014 marks the first year of the pilot Extended Day program at Sanders Clyde, a partnership with Charleston Promise neighborhood based on a system from Harlem, New York.
I love doing what I'm doing now because, number one, I love kids. I've always loved kids and wanted to work with kids. But the thing that I love the most, or the thing that I'm passionate about, is making sure all kids have access to a good education.
Community members and faculty focus on student enrichment through mentorship with partners in areas such as music, karate, sports, graphics, and film, to name a few.
My name is Dana Sanders. I was born and raised in Charleston, South Carolina. I started off on Poinsett Street, which is not too far from here, and then I passed this test that allowed me to go into a magnet school. So because my parents only had one car, I had to move to Judith Street, which is right off of America Street, because I was accepted at Buste Academy. So I left James Simmons, went to Buste Academy, and from there I ended up going to Rivers Middle School, and because that was another school and my parents only had one car, then I moved to Hugie Street with my other set of grandparents, and that's where I finished high school. After I graduated from high school, I went to Winthrop University, which is in Rock Hill, South Carolina. Then once I finished there and became a teacher, I ended up teaching in Charlotte, North Carolina. And then I taught. I was a literacy coach, an assistant principal, and a principal there, and got a call one day from Chicago, Illinois. They were asking if I could come there and work with the schools there, and so I ended up moving to Chicago, and that's where I resided for the last 4 years. The superintendent encouraged me to apply at Sanders Clyde. I hadn't heard much about Sanders Clyde before, did some research, and I felt like this was a challenging school that I would be able to make a major difference in, because it reminded me of the school that I worked in Chicago. I put a lot of pressure on myself to make sure that all of our scholars are reaching their potential, because my brother dropped out of high school and I know that he's struggling with getting a job now, and I don't want any other scholar to struggle the way that my brother does now. So it's my mission to make sure that all of our scholars are successful at the school, get a chance to graduate from high school, go to college, and be the best citizen, productive citizen that they can be. If there was one thing that I could change immediately about the school, it would be helping everyone see that success is real and it is accomplishable. We can do and be anybody, any person that we want to be. All it takes is effort and perseverance. My advice to you is to persevere through anything. Don't allow what happens on the outside limit you on the inside. You can do and be anything that you choose to be. I've done it. I grew up around the same area, and I know that your possibilities are endless when it comes to you being a productive citizen.
My name is Brianna. My favorite thing about this class is being the director.
My name is Armani. My favorite thing about this class is photography and just filming stuff.
My favorite thing about myself is I really is loving my personality and all, because it's comfortable with my situations.
My name is Definity. There's not one thing I like about YoArt. I just like the whole YoArt. I like working with the staff and working with cameras and doing things that I never got to do before. That's my favorite thing about YoArt.
My name is Nyla.
My name is Kenya.
My name is James.
My name is Diamond. My name is Isolation.
My name is Thomas.
My name is Corey Jr.
My name is Nicholas.
My name is Mario Frost.
Thank you.